No one will hurt you again. Have you ever wanted to be unshakable? Someone who ignores criticism, rejection, loss, and betrayal? Have you ever imagined a day when you will finally stop feeling that silent pain, that anguish that consumes you even when you act fine? You may be tired of pleasing everyone and maintaining a strong image when all you wanted was to relax from being untouchable. Perhaps no one has the courage to say this. As long as you avoid pain, it will control you. So long as you try to numb, protect, or hide, you will be a hostage to everything around you, from hurtful words to disappointing actions to silences that kill you inside. It's not weakness. Most people experience this. Different people pretend better. The great depth psychologist Carl Jung said we are what we choose to be, not what happens to us. The key is there. It's not about isolation. No need to become cold, indifferent, or untouchable. The issue is integration, bringing light to everything that affects you in the dark, because true strength is knowing who you are even when bleeding, not the absence of pain. Getting this far is no accident. Tired of hurting yourself with everything and everyone? Watch this video. You feel emotionally disadvantaged, as if others have power over you that you don't understand. Let me show you how it can be different. However, that requires facing some painful truths. Maybe this pain will free you for the first time. Let's begin. You think what hurts you is out there, in others' actions, poorly chosen words, abandonments, and unexpected betrayals. The truth is harsh. Unless you have an open wound, none of this can hurt you. Not what others do hurts you. This is what these experiences activate. The story you tell yourself. Old trauma that has never been addressed. You hide your emptiness with strength, pride, and a desperate need to appear well-adjusted. Jung teaches us that external pain is a reflection of internal, unintegrated pain. Some can survive devastating situations and remain clear, while others crumble at a simple comment. It's not about events where it hits matters, where an uncomfortable truth follows. Your suffering persists because you believe you can control how the world treats you. You strive to be good, smart, strong, and understanding, as if that guarantees not being hurt. Control is illusion. As long as you hold on to it, you live in constant tension, trying to predict the unpredictable and avoid the inevitable. Want to stop suffering? Stop shielding yourself from pain. You need awareness, not control. As long as you think people must change to stop hurting, you will be enslaved by others. Your freedom begins when you realize that outside influences only have power if they resonate with you. This is the real battleground. Unconscious. You are ruled by what you cannot see, understand, or master. The next section will cover this. Prepare to go deeper because true transformation begins there. Click subscribe to the channel if this content makes sense. Appreciate your help. You've been told you control your life. The biggest lie. You're not, so wake up. Not if you keep living on autopilot, reacting without knowing why, feeling without knowing why, and making decisions you later sabotage. Carl Jung stated, "Until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life and be called fate." This is happening to you now. Your sudden pain, anger, and sadness. None of this is random. These are messages from forgotten, ignored, repressed parts of you. Jung called this dark place the unconscious. Not just a cloud of vague thoughts, an active force. An entire system of memories, traumas, desires, and fears you don't want to face that determine your emotions and behavior. You wonder why some words hurt you but others don't. Because those words touch living emotional points. Their survival is due to your inaction. You just hid them psychologically. You keep tripping over them. Jung said we can't change anything until we accept it. Damnation does not free, oppresses. You've been doing what? Assessing yourself, self-repression, quieting yourself. Would that solve anything? Ignoring the unconscious does not erase it. It always appears in more dangerous ways. Recurring toxic relationships, in unbreakable self-sabotage patterns, anxiety and fear when everything is fine, not bad luck. Your unconscious wants to wake you. You insist on sleeping. Want to be pain-free? Then stop avoiding your inner self. As long as you don't know you're unconscious, your emotions will control you. You become more vulnerable to internal pain as you try to protect yourself from external pain. But escape is possible, not in self-defense. Integrate yourself. Because becoming untouchable is not resistance. Deep knowledge is involved. Here's what follows. What does unshakability mean? Why does acceptance give strength, not armor? Let's proceed. Most people think the only way to avoid pain is to isolate. They build walls, masks, emotional armor, and pretend nothing affects them. They say, I'm done caring, I don't care, nothing bothers me. They still bleed internally. Corroding continues. Since feeling was never the issue, the problem is not knowing what and why you feel. Only the unknowing experience this. Jung said, know all theories precisely, master all methods, be another human soul when touching one. You hide that human soul behind a strong, invulnerable, controlled character. Screams to be seen. Emotional strength is unrelated to coldness. It's not about ignoring pain, conflict, or indifference. It involves integrating, by accepting, by revealing everything you've hidden. No one becomes untouchable by separating themselves from the world. You become untouchable when you realize no one can touch what you've accepted. When you integrate your shadows, fears, flaws, and insecurities, you stop reacting to everything. You watch, you decide. You're no longer emotional puppet, genuine freedom. Jung defined individuation as becoming yourself, contrary to expectations. Not what you expected to be accepted, what comes from within, from light-shadow intersection, ego unconscious. Jung defined individuation as integration, not perfection. You need not improve. Just become whole. No one told you this secret. Pain pursues those who run from it. The more you resist, the weaker you become. Nothing outside can destroy you when you face your wounds and accept all that is beautiful, ugly, noble, and shameful about you. It takes courage to follow this path, courage to look within, the guts to remove masks, courage to feel. Pain hides the key to transformation. This will be revealed in the next section. How suffering can reveal your true strength. Go deeper, without fear this time. You grew to hate pain. Since childhood, you were taught that suffering is a sign of weakness. Crying is a waste of time, and feeling too much makes you vulnerable, so you ran, avoided, and denied. The more you avoid suffering, the more it pursues you. The worst part is that it changes shape. It manifests as anxiety, anger, apathy, boredom, and self-destructive impulses you don't understand. Ignored pain persists. It digs tunnels inside you until everything collapses suddenly. Jung viewed suffering differently. He believed that pain was the soul's messenger, the unconscious alarm, and the self's language to get your attention. Described depression as a black lady. If she appears, don't dismiss her. Sit her down, offer her coffee, and listen. Not listening. You silence, distract, numb, and busy yourself. Every effort is made to ignore what matters. What's this pain showing you? Pain is only so bad because you're still fighting yourself. Part of you wants to grow and part wants to stay the same. Something inside you needs change. Your controlling ego tries to suffocate that call. Friction creates pain. Because change hurts. Growth hurts. Release old beliefs. Cut toxic ties. And let what no longer serves you die. This is all mourning. Internal death and rebirth. Yet it is in ruin that something new can emerge. When everything in you is deconstructed, when certainties crumble, and when pain reveals your vulnerability, you can finally see who you are without the protection, performance, or mask. That's when suffering becomes sacred, because it humbles you before the only thing that can free you, yourself. Jung knew. He realized that system failure does not cause suffering, part of the process. Pain is not fatal. Individualization begins here. Unfortunately, most people quit before crossing that dark valley. They leave, distract themselves, they resurface, but not you. You are ready to cross if you have come this far. Next, we'll learn how this crossing happens, how individuation, however lonely and brutal, frees you. Let's proceed. The depth is increasing. Few have the guts to start individuating. Even fewer have the guts to finish. This path destroys your ego because it doesn't promise comfort, guarantees, or protection. Jung defined individuation as becoming oneself. Above all, this means unlearning your self-image. This hurts more than external rejection because you realize that much of what defined you was an illusion. You are not your accomplishments. Your traumas are not you. You are not the portrait you created to be loved, respected, or admired. You created everything to survive. Surviving is not living. Beyond survival, life calls for individuation. The unconscious pushes repressed, hidden, and distorted memories to the surface. Jung wrote that individuation requires persona dissolution. It's just a show of convenience. You must remove your skin to see what's underneath. You become untouchable during this process. Not because nothing affects you anymore, but because you survived the fire, faced your monsters. You said, "I see you." Shame, neediness, anger, and you no longer control me. This inner clarity, this lucidity in your darkness, gives you strength that does not require approval, recognition, or control. You no longer need everyone's love. You need not win every argument. You no longer need to appear strong because you know who you are and no one can change that. True emotional armor isn't shell, a core. It is the integration of all your parts into a storm-resistant center of consciousness. Though painful, pain does not break you. When you stop reacting and become whole, you can be hurt without losing yourself. You now live in the depths. However, depth costs loneliness. You won't be alone, but few can join you on this journey. Masks and fear of feeling keep most on the surface. You distance yourself when you free yourself. But this distance is not rejection. This is maturation. You don't withdraw in pride. No longer fitting where you hid, you distance yourself. This is the end of our journey. Protective consciousness, because strength does not protect. It's clear. The final section will cover this. Nothing can control you more than consciousness. Finish this crossing together. We're almost there. Now that you've reached this point, something must be said clearly. Nothing will protect you from external suffering if you ignore your internal experiences. Words will hurt. Rejections will hurt. Losses will depress you until you wake up. No, awakening is not magical. A daily choice. Even when it hurts, it looks within. It means taking responsibility for your feelings without blaming others, the past, or fate. Resisted things persist, said Carl Jung. What you accept changes. Your whole life has been resistance, feeling inadequate, the void of rejection, loneliness, hurt, the pain of being ignored. You did what with that? You hid, silenced yourself. You tried to control everything. You sought perfection. Being strong was your goal. All of this brought you here, exhausted, sick of fighting the world and yourself. You know now. True emotional immunity isn't tough. It's clear. It's not armor manufacturing. Increase your awareness. Because when you know your triggers, patterns, and wounds, others can't destroy you. Feel but don't drown. You're still suffering but not lost. That changes everything. Your shield doesn't protect you from life. It is deepening. Any wave hurts surface dwellers. Divers know there's silence, stability, and power below. You're going there. When you live from integration, presence, and acceptance, the world may try to knock you down. No longer finds where to hit you. Write in the comments if this video awakened something in you. I choose awareness. Let's start a movement of people who want to live truthfully instead of pretending to be strong. Remember, the next video is part of this journey. It matters. You must continue. Real change starts when you progress beyond the first step. Meet you there.